we're back on the American Dream Business Roundtable. And, you know, Greg, you were making a wonderful, you know, not speech, but talking about what it really takes to make that person or that company work. And I want to ask Joe this. Joe, when you go in and you first meet somebody, you used to work for
IBM.
Mm-hmm. And I wondered, you believe when you go in, when you're working with salespeople, that they should go to the top, right? Mm-hmm. Not the bottom.
Absolutely.
Why?
It's going to save time, and if you're a smaller company, you don't have the time to make 10 calls on somebody. You just don't have the money. So instead of calling on them 10 times, call on them 2 and go in at the top and ask if they're interested. If the person at the top is not interested and says no, that's not a loss. Actually, you're happy because now you know you don't need to spend any more marketing dollars on the individual. But if he says yes, now you know that there's an interest within the company at the highest levels, and you make sure that he or she participates in all the meetings it takes to get the deal signed. It's just a much faster and easier way to do business.
That kind of begs a question, though, because how do you get past the gatekeeper?
There's a couple of different ways to do that. I used to do it with a letter, but the letter doesn't work anymore because nobody reads their mail. So I flipped it to email, and it works just like a charm. And basically what you're doing is you're applying leverage to that CEO to take the call from you, external and internal.
Well, you know, it's amazing because you said if they say no, but what if they say maybe?
They say maybe, and what time can I meet you, and what day?
Right, because a lot of times, and you may bring them a product and they may not say, for instance, like it right this minute, but maybe in a month or two they think, wow, that was a valuable product. Do you leave a presentation with them?
I don't like to give presentations to C-level or president people.
Or even a brochure?
I might give them a brochure.
Okay.
But you know,
some kind of mnemonic.
Yeah. But
giant business card.
Yeah, but they've seen too many PowerPoints. They've just been overplayed. And they were really great in the 90s, and we just...
I don't mean a PowerPoint.
Right.
I meant something that you can actually leave.
Yeah, I would leave a brochure, absolutely.
A brochure. Or even a tremendous business card.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And I think that that really helps.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that most people today don't have the time. But I'm very surprised because in my line of work, I usually work in the president level, and I'm very surprised because I do radio and television, right?
Right.
And then with clients, and they're probably the easier person to talk to than the lower level person.
The lower level person has all types of gates and barriers to stop you as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, the first person you can get in to see usually is a purchasing agent, and you might as well be calling on the chef. They're told what to buy.
Right.
Yeah. And don't they have like limits? You can make a decision as long as it doesn't exceed $5,000 or $10,000.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually. But if you're talking to the top guy, and they're big enough, you know, size is not the issue.
Yeah.
Don't you have to love your job if you're in sales, especially if you're dealing with, and I know my son's in sales with big corporations that he has to deal with, and he really loves his job in sales. So isn't that part, you have a few ideas, or not ideas, that are points that are on your website that I looked at. And the first one is remind yourself of what you love about your sales job.
Right. It's important because if you don't remember that you like it, it's going to be very difficult for you to go to work every day. And on my website, I think enthusiasm is one of the things that I spell out. You have to be enthusiastic about what you're doing. You have to be motivated. It's one that I spell out. And, you know, unfortunately, usually it's the person that wants to make the most money that ends up being the best salesperson. My last years at IBM, I was a vice president and didn't get out in the field very much. And I would look at expense reports, and the person that had the most dollars on their expense report almost always was my #1 salesperson.
Do you agree?
About that, I'm not really sure. One thing that we haven't really noted is that Joe came into the entrepreneurial world through what I call the back door, through the corporate world.
Sure.
And oftentimes that experience changes people or indoctrinates them, I'll say, in a way that you just can't get past. For example, it seems like there's this mentality, why should I do anything today that I can put off till tomorrow? That seems to be kind of a corporate mantra. Well, there isn't any sense of urgency, let's put it that way. No sense of urgency to get anything done. And then you have this other issue where so many people are afraid of sales. And as an entrepreneur, you are your #1 salesperson. If you can't go out and speak about your company lovingly day in and day out, you probably are not a good fit to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
It's not the kind of thing that you can hire somebody else to do.
Yeah, I tell startups all the time, the vice president of sales is not the first hire that you make.
Right.
You are the vice president of
Well,
sales.
you're the one that's going to have to go out and do it. I mean,
Yeah.
and I tell people that every day, especially I work with lots of little small companies or startups, or they are coming to me because they need me to market and put them on the map as far as social media and everything else. And that's kind of what I do with them, is that I give them, I sit down with them just like you do. I mean, you're in a different league than I'm in a sense. No,
that's not
maybe
true.
not. Not true?
No,
Not
not
true?
true.
You don't think?
No.
No. So, and I work with a lot of inventors that come up with, and we talked about it before the show.
Right.
And I have to, can I share this with you?
Sure.
I can share this with you.
Absolutely.
One of the inventors that I worked with is 75, going to be 75. Invented a speedy chicken truss for chickens, and the only reason why he did it was because he had a hard time with the string because he has Parkinson's, right?
Right.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
And this company called me today and said, we're interested in his product. So I called him up, and I hadn't taken any money from him at all because I really believed in his product, and I knew where he was financially. And I said, this company doesn't want you to spend a penny. They want to see your product because they're looking for products that help people,
Right.
that people need. And direct response is, I want that product because I need it.
Right.
And do you work in those kind of products too?
Some I come across are very, very clear that there's a great market for it, and people need it. Others, sometimes I recommend them not to go to market at all, because they'll just be wasting their money.
Right, and you know, that's important to understand what the actual product is or the service, right?
Right.
And know exactly what your goals are. Right? And if you don't have goals, you can have a business plan and you're not doing what?
They have to be realistic goals. There has to be financials tied to them, and there has to be a break-even statement
Right.
for them to be a full set business plan, as far as I'm concerned. And a bank's going to look at it the same way.
And on that note, we need to take a short break.
Okay.
And we'll be right back with Greg Noe and JL Abbott
Yeah.
right after these messages.